Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na. Hi, welcome to the Real Picture Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren.
And I'm Isabella.
And this is our first episode of our podcast, and we don't know what we're doing. So please be gentle.
So Lauren and I, we have been friends for a little while, but we decided that probably over the last year, we have been really just trying to decide on what we would want to do for a podcast because we both think we're pretty funny.
Yeah.
We like to think that at least. You know, the blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
But I had this idea one night where I was like, why don't we put our majors into a podcast? Because I feel like that would be reasonable. A good way to talk about it, because I know a lot of people who get our majors mixed up. So
They are not the same.
now you're probably thinking, what is your major and why would people get it mixed up? So we're both video and film production majors, but I'm a live production major.
And I am a movie making major. Well, I'm a graduate.
So a lot of people think that they're one of the same, where, if you're making movies, you're doing everything TV related, which is not true.
Completely different sets.
A lot of universities and institutes, they really just think that they mesh it all together. But luckily, the institute that we went to, they are well known for not just their film program, but their live production program. So we're all separate. And I have this little phrase that I like to say: we are the same breed with different degrees.
Yeah.
So, the same degree with different breeds. So I have yet to graduate, but she has. So on our diploma, it'll say video and film production, but we are two very different people and two very different degrees.
Yes.
But a lot of people do think that we are one and the same, but we really aren't. So this podcast is really just to talk about how there are a lot of things that we both do on our in our professions that we both do, but how we're also very different at the same time, but how they both coincide together. Mm-hmm. So that's what our podcast is about.
Yep.
I'll let Lauren go first because I don't know how to shut up. I'll let her go first. Introduce yourself into a more full introduction.
All right. So I'm Lauren, and I just graduated from college in May of this year with a degree in video and film production. So I did more of the movie making, which is more of like a single cam related degree. So I learned, editing, Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, stuff like that, learning how to work with a camera, learning aperture and what am I thinking of? Shutter speed and all that.
It's not like she has a degree in this.
Not like I didn't learn anything. Let's be honest. I didn't. I was just there for fun.
Okay, anyways,
I have a degree in that. I personally really like to do editing. I enjoy editing a lot. I've made multiple shorts for school. I haven't gotten to do what I really want to do and make my own short film with my own crew. But me and my group of friends have started our own production company, and it's got the funniest name ever. It's Honky Tonk Boogie Smack Productions.
yeehaw!
I didn't come up with this. It was Mason. He was the one who came up with it. But I still love it because we're going to start making all kinds of cool videos and all that stuff.
If it doesn't tell you where we're from, you should know by now where we're from, just by the name.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But that's really all about it. I haven't worked on many sets. I was working on my first year at MTSU. I worked on a short film called Monsters that has actually gotten a few award-winning. It's an award-winning short film over in France and stuff like that, over in Europe. So I was just an actor, and most of the sets I've been on, I'm just acting because I'm just funny. But that's basically it. Every time that somebody's asked me to actually like work on their set, something has come up. Like I got asked in August to be on two people's sets, but I had to go turn in my car to go get it fixed because somebody hit me. So
Okay. My name is Isabella. If she didn't mention, she graduated from Middle Tennessee State University. I also attend there. I am still in my last semester right now. But I absolutely love it at MTSU. I really feel like the live production program, they have really good opportunities to really get you into the field. So I've been on quite a few sets. I feel like it takes up most of my life, which is okay because obviously this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. So I have worked on sets with CMT, ESPN. I've done a lot of sports. I honestly have done just about almost all positions you could think of, from utility to camera operators to engineering to directing, producing, technical
really
directing.
director.
Thank you. Yeah, I love directing. That's probably something that I'm really passionate about. But it's something that I truly love, and it's something that I want to do. Like last night, we did football for MTSU. Don't bring it up. Anyways, it was okay. It was good. We worked with ESPN through their streaming services, and it's just a really good opportunity to really get your name out there. But yeah, I've done a lot of sports. I've done some concerts. I've worked with some really big name artists.
Yeah, you got to see Kelsey Ballerini. Who was it?
So, okay.
No, the lady you were named after.
Okay, so that was the CMT show. I was just a PA through their marketing team, but like most of the time you're going to start out as a PA and you're going to work your way up because it's just a big long process of who knows somebody else, who knows somebody else, who knows somebody else. Mm-hmm. And you got to know the right people, especially in both of our industries, is you have to know certain people to get where you want to go. So I worked on this show back in November of 2022. It was the Judd's final performance. If you don't know, Winona Judd and her mother, they are a big country artist. They were singing. They sung for many, many years, but sadly, her mother passed away from suicide. I think
Oh my God, I didn't
committed
even know
suicide.
that.
Which is very sad. Wonderful woman, but her daughter decided that she wanted to go back on tour and do like a final tour. So whenever her and her mom were first on tour, one of their first shows was at the Murphy Center, which is our basketball arena. And so she came there, and CMT did this big show, and they had like a whole big team. They needed students and extras and just a whole lot of people. So there were people everywhere. Mm-hmm. But she had special guests like Kelsey Ballerini, Little Big Town, Brandy Carlisle, Martina McBride, which is part of my name, who I'm named after. So that was like a really big deal to me to be able to work that show. But me and a lot of my classmates, we got to work alongside these really big name artists and really get our name out there, which is a huge deal. Mm-hmm. And yeah,
and you got paid for it.
I did get paid for it. But yeah, that is just something that was a really big opportunity that I had, and absolutely love it. And I really like working for CMT, not just because I love country music, but yeah.
We're the only two people that we know that actually like country music.
That is true.
My boyfriend's from the freaking hills and hates country music.
We are from the South, and just about every single person we both know, they're like,
I hate country music.
I hate country music. And we're like, you're from the same state as us. How do you hate country music?
They're just like, because it's just
make it make sense. But anyways, so that's just kind of like a little
bit about
backstory about us. But yeah, now we are gonna go into kind of just like what the similarities and differences are in our profession.
Yeah, I have a little thing full of the questions because
these are a lot of questions that people just like ask us in general, like how's it the same, how is it different. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Or do you just want to kind of give like a little rundown of what yours is and then what mine is, and then we can do that?
So okay, like our first question is like, what's the main difference between live production and movie making or single cam? Single cam is mostly like it's single cam. It's usually one camera. It can be multiple, but most of the time it's like you're using multiple cameras to get the same angle on a set, and it's usually a story, most of
the time it's going to be like a narrative story, or you're trying to tell something. So whether it's not just movies either, it's also television too.
Yeah.
Which in television, we'll get into that more, but most television is like narrative, along with obviously movies. Whether that's a narrative, a documentary, a biopic, literally anything. It's all the time. And that's part of the reason why it takes so long. You just can't have multiple cameras set up because, I mean, you're not going to have a camera in the back of your film.
No. But it's usually just, movies. You're making movies. So it's the process of, setting up, having a production set up. You make sure you have your writers, your producers, your directors, all that fun stuff. And then, you have your producers sit there and figure out when you're going to actually make the movie. You have to find locations, all that fun stuff, and then everybody comes on to set, and then you set up the cameras, the lights, and everything, and then you make a movie, and that's basically it. And then you have to send it off to post, and somebody goes and does all of the editing, puts it all together, and makes a movie.
If there's one thing I'll go into the differences of live production first before I say this. So live production is a lot different than movie making, where in live productions, that includes any sporting events, any award shows, any event that is happening in the moment is live production. So when you watch football games, basketball, anything like that, that's in the moment, that's live, that's not pre-recorded. Most of the time it's not pre-recorded. Any concerts that you go to, a lot of the times they are going to have their video crew there. So not only are they recording it for themselves, but they have it on their LED panels that their team sets up. So that is just something that a lot of people get confused on. Another thing is that there are some TV shows like Home Improvement is a live production show. So they have a live crowd, but they do that with cameras, and they have it set up a certain way where you won't see them, but it's cut live. So a big difference, kind of a way to know what the main difference is between movies and live production is with live production, you're cutting live. In movies, you can go back and redo it and do your retakes. Live production, if you get it wrong, you're messed up. So it's high. Honestly, in movies is too. But I know for me in live production, it's high adrenaline, it's high anxiety, and you just got to make sure you have a good head on your shoulders and whatever you're doing.
Oh my God. But sets, like movie making sets, long hours. Like you could be on a set for like 14, 15 hours, maybe up to 18 hours. And you're having to like make sure you're getting the right shots. You have to make sure the lighting's right. You have to make sure that the audio's correct. You have to make sure that everything is perfect just so you can make it correctly. And like, I personally liked live. I took multicam 1. That was a really fun class. And I enjoyed the like high pace, fun environment of live. But if you're on a movie making set, if you're making it like that is very long.
That is, I've taken some movie making classes as well. And see, when you go to certain schools, you get put in both, but then you like pick your concentrations of what you want to do. Mm-hmm. But if you are doing both, if you have knowledge in both, it's going to help you in the other one. So if you are good in single cam and you have like really good shots and like can make a really good shot sheet, you can use that in multi-camera production, because you are using that to make sure you get the perfect shot so your viewer sees what you're doing. Something that I did want to mention though is that something that is the same between live production and movie making is that you have to have a pre-production, a production, and a post-production no matter what you do. So you always want to have your pre-production where you have, whether that be whoever is on camera, your lighting, your audio, your costume design, or whether in live production, it's your camera operators, your director, your TD, your replay, whatever you're doing, you have to always have that pre-production, because you can't just come in, say, oh, we're going to do this. No, you have to have a pre-production and make sure everything is right. Then you obviously go through your production phase, and though those are very different from each other, you still have to have it. And then most of the time there is your post-production, where in live production you have to create a melt sequence. Like, we worked with ESPN last night, and we always have to do like a melt sequence after just putting all the game highlights together and sending it over to them, because that's just something they require. And then obviously you have your post-production for movies, where you have to cut it together and to physically make the movie. Like, you can have your pre-production, you can make your shots, and you can have all of it done, but if it's not done in post-production, you don't have a movie.
Yeah.
And I know a lot in this industry, if you're good in post-production, you have a job. Like, no matter what. If you are very handy and you know how to work editing software, you have a job. Like, that's something, and I give props to people, because I personally get a lot of anxiety from post-production. Quit laughing at me. She knows how much anxiety I get from it. But
I eat it up.
yeah, see, she's really good at this.
I love post-production, because it's like putting my own little puzzle together, and I get to like, it's just fun. I like it a lot. Like, that's my favorite thing to do. If I could just get a job editing people's videos, I would do that for the rest of my life.
It's a lot of people, and I mean, there are jobs out there. There are jobs out there to get
Listen, okay? Most of the jobs that whenever you're trying to get into post is like, you have to have a portfolio. And I'm like, I don't have anything in my portfolio except for my like shorts. And they're like, we need like a TikTok type of, cause a lot of
reel?
Like a demo reel. Yeah. Like in my portfolio, I need like something that's kind of edited like a TikTok that's up to, not society standards, but like, you know, what's new and what's like trending. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What am I supposed to do? Go out here and just like all of a sudden just make a short? I do have one in mind we should talk about, because I think it's funny.
I'll have to demo reel conversation later. Anyways,
I'm so scared my camera's not recording still, and I have to check it because I'm worried.
Okay, so she's gonna go check this, and while she's doing that, we are gonna go into our next questions. Is difference in between sets. So
we're good.
The difference in between sets is, it really just depends. So with live production, it really just depends on where your show is going to be at. So for instance, I keep bringing this up. Last night we had a home game at MTSU. The location was Murphy Center. And a lot of the times before we have a show, the production team is going to go do a site survey, which is where they're going to go out and they're going to figure out, where are they going to park their truck or their fly pack? Where are they going to be able to run their cables through to get everything set up? Because that is a huge deal. You want to make sure you have the power, like the physical electricity power, to get it to your viewers so they can see what's going on. Because if you don't, then you're messed up. That's something, like, you have to have power for it. Yeah. Or there's no sense in doing a show. But yeah, you just have to know beforehand where you're going to go.
We're on which one? How are they different?
Difference between sets.
Okay, so movie sets. Movie sets are more of like, such a tedious process. So like whenever I was on the set for Monsters, oh my God, it took us literally like a whole year and a half to finish this movie, because we were having to like make sure we were able to get the locations, because it was filmed on campus, but the director Spencer, he moved out of the dorm that he was originally living in, so then he had to ask the dorm like RAs and all that if he could film in there multiple times after he had moved out. So like the last half of the year that we were filming, we had to like make sure that we had the location set, and then we had people on the set that were always late. And if you're late, you're just holding up the entire process, because like we'd say you have your shot sheet of what you're going to do that day on set. You say, I want to get these specific shots with these specific actors in it, but we had one actor that just couldn't come on time every freaking time. He was always late.
My professor has this saying, if you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you're fired.
Yeah, that's how my dad was.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
So be early. That is something that, and that's not just in film. That's in any job that you do. Be on time. Be on time, because we, in live production, we have this thing where it says it starts at 6. We go live at 6. We start at 6:02. Like, we go live, game starts at 6:02. That's it. You have to be ready. Like, no matter what, ready or not, you're live. Like, you're going.
And usually within this field, people are not playing around when they need you. You need to be there on time, because like there was multiple times where that person wasn't on set, so we had to move. We had to move around the story because that person wasn't there. Like, we had a set story that we wanted to show, but we needed that person to be on set, but he wasn't, and so we had to change the story up a little bit. But like, being there on time, and you're sitting there. I remember being on set for like 6 to 9 hours at a time. And to me, that's like, I'm doing a whole shift, because we would start at like, sometimes we'd start at like 4, and then I wouldn't get to go home until like 10 or 11 o'clock. And I'd be like, I am so ready to leave, because we would just, and some of the times it was just him getting B-roll. I'm just sitting there.
Yeah, a lot of the times, especially with this, when you're a student and you're making student films, a lot of the times you're not getting paid.
Oh no, you're not.
You're not getting paid at all. Okay, guys, we're back.
We had some technical difficulties. I didn't have enough storage on my camera, because
we're amateurs at podcasts, clearly. We're also recording this too, so maybe we'll also put this out on YouTube.
We have to.
Well, we are, but we are still trying to get into it. This is our first time ever doing like really any podcast or anything like this. We are film majors, so when it comes to audio, we are.
They tell us audio is the most important. You can watch a movie, and the movie has so many beautiful cinematic qualities to it, but if the audio's trash, it's a trash movie.
Well, audio is half of what you're doing, so you can watch, I mean, unless it's a silent film.
Yeah.
That's different. But audio is half of what you do. Anyways, so on to the next one. Okay, so this one is how they're the same. I know we kind of touched on this earlier, but a lot of the ways of how movies, television, and live production are the same is you always have to have writers, which that is something that we are going to talk about in another episode, is the current writing strike that has been going on with the Writers Guild, and then the Screen Actors Guild that is going on as well. We will go more into depth with that, but your writers are so important, because I know, if you don't have post-production, you're not going to have a story. But if you don't have your writers, you're literally not going to have anything.
You're not going to have a story at all.
Whatsoever.
You have your directors, your producers, your, what is it? Not your PA.
We have your PAs too.
Your PAs.
You have your utility.
Utility, you got your lights people, your camera crew. There's a lot that coincides, but they usually, even though they sound the same, they're doing different jobs.
So like you have your director, but in a movie realm, the director is more of a, how would I put this? Probably has more creativeness, where whenever in live production, your producer has more of the creative side, because they're the ones who are telling the story. And you work with your director in that sense, where your director in live production is, of course, telling people, okay, we're going to cut to this camera, or we're going to go in with graphics, we're going to go in with playback. But they also are they're mainly the ones telling people what to do. They don't necessarily have a lot of creativeness like most directors in movies would.
Yeah, because usually on like whenever we were in multicam, the director's usually like, you're watching this screen full of cameras, and then you're having to call out which cameras, which takes a lot of like practice and a lot of, you have to be creative, because you're trying to keep your audience engaged on, like, you don't want to stay on one shot for too long, or your audience is gonna be like, I get it.
Yeah, like you want to make sure you keep your head on straight. That's probably the best way to put it. Because you have to be on the ball, because I know at least right now, whenever we're directing, we have our executive producer, which in both cases, when it means the exact same thing, an executive producer in live production and an executive producer in movies, they're the ones who have the money. So they are usually funding. So, but while I'm in school, our executive producer is our professor. So he's the one who's kind of like over us and who's teaching us. So I could be directing and I'll have my executive producer in the background.
Right over your shoulder.
Telling me, okay, get this shot. And I'm like,
let me do my job,
let me
please.
do my job. And so most of the time though, whenever we are doing our jobs like this is we are live. So if we're doing it for a class, we will do, like this semester, we will be doing volleyball and soccer with ESPN Plus. But ESPN Plus knows that we are student ran. But I'm not trying to be like, oh, we're not just like run of the mill. There's a reason why we work with ESPN. Because ESPN knows that our school produces some of the best people. Like, we have had people who have gone on tour with Iggy Azalea, Lil Baby, Post Malone, like a whole bunch of people who have gone on and they have worked with these big name artists. So they know that they are producing good directors, TDs, producers,
stage managers.
Replays, stage managers. They're producing good people. So they know what they're doing, but of course they're going to have their, okay, you should change this. They're going to tweak some stuff. And that's normal. I mean, they're the production company. We're going through them. That's absolutely normal. Sorry, my voice is going out. I've had this cough for like a year now, and it comes and goes, and it's currently on right now. So my voice is changing.
All right. Are we on our last one?
No, we've got 2 more.
Oh, okay. What are our goals in this field, in our fields? My goal is to have my own production company that I own, that I make money from, where I can live a comfortable life and I don't have to like clock into a job anymore, because it's not fun. I am not meant to work for other people. I'm okay with working for other people, but it's just, I would rather be the one who's
It's not something you want to do for the rest of your life.
No, like I want, for the rest of my life, I want to be able to comfortably live where I get to work with other creative people, make movies, entertain others. Like, that's been my goal from the time I was really little. I just really like entertaining people. I like to sing, I like to act, I like to be silly and make people laugh and bring joy to others. And if I could do that, and make money from it, sounds like a perfect kind of deal for me.
Yeah. So my goals in life, so I graduate in December, which is coming up very close. So I have been applying to some jobs. Something that is like an immediate goal, which is a company I want to work for. I'm not going to say the name of it, but it's a production company that I want to work for, which is a lot of people, how you get your start is you can work for a production company, and some companies do this, some of them don't. Like, when I say production companies, I'm talking about like live game trucks. So a game truck is pretty much what you will work out of when you're doing live production, because you don't have a set studio. Like if you were working on a television show or working for the news, you don't have your set stuff because you are moving from place to place all the time. So with this job, I get to travel a lot. I love traveling. Like, I'm traveling in a couple of weeks, and it was just kind of like a fly in the moment thing. But with this working with this production company, you're most likely going into the engineering field. And a lot of the times, these production companies, they'll crew out their people too. So you're not just necessarily being an engineer. You're also, okay, we need someone to direct Tennessee versus Georgia. This is an example. Sometimes they'll crew in people who work for them. So they're not having to completely freelance, which in this industry for both of us, you are freelancing yourself all the time.
You might not know. I think we were talking about this in movie making last year before I dropped the class.
Long story.
Long story. But we were talking about how whenever there's say you're in the union, you have to work a specific amount of hours in order to get health benefits, which to me, that's just terrible. Because, like, people need health benefits, and if you're not working a specific amount of hours within a year, you don't even know when your next job might come in. You don't know what movie you might be working on next, and you don't know how long you'll be there. That's how they get away with working people 40-hour shifts. Like, nobody, first of all, you're losing money. People are sleeping. Like, that just makes no sense. Movie making is, like, so much. You're like, you don't know when your next job's going to be, especially you're going to have to start off, like you said, like a PA, and that's just
unless you can, which is why we both went to school for this, so we can really market ourselves. Like, there are people who graduated last semester which most of the time, especially in live production, you're probably going to be like a utility or a camera op, which is fine. Everyone has to build up their place somewhere. But I know people who work for, like, not just companies, but sporting places like the Tennessee Titans, the Nashville Soccer Club. And I'm saying that just because it's local to us. People who work for them specifically in their media. So everything is in-house. So it's like a studio, but they're working for them. And so their job is stable. But it's like these big over-the-line jobs that they got right out of college, which is super rare, but they marketed themselves so well and they put the time into it while they were in school. And I give them credit for that because they're probably some of the best people I know. And we are always told that you always want to make yourself marketable, but you always also want to make sure you are a good person to work with.
Yeah.
You can be the very best, top of the line, but
if people can't get along with you, they're not going to want you on your set.
If you can't get along with people, or if you treat people crappy, or if you don't show up on time, you're not going to get hired. Like, that's just how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really want to definitely go into the engineering field. It's something I'm really passionate about. Since I've started this, our school has offered like one class for it, but I took it and it was just something that I got really passionate about, and I really love it. And I'm looking into different production companies to be able to, that will teach me more, because a lot of them will take you, they have apprenticeship programs and they'll take you in whether you are a video and film production major or not. And they'll take you in and they'll teach you. And a lot of the times, once you're done with your program, they'll offer you a job. Yeah. And it's well-paying jobs because, I mean, you're an engineer. Like, you're the people who gets the power to the truck so people can watch the shows. So it's like a really big deal to be that person. And for them to teach you and getting paid, I mean, why not want to take this job, you know?
I mean, for the movie making side of it, and it's a lot harder to get into it unless you like literally get up and move, and or you're just really good at what you do, and you go and like help out. Like, I've seen a lot of people that I graduated with, they're now making music videos for people, and that's a good way for you to like get your name out there and get hired onto sets. But like, I haven't gotten to work on many sets because throughout college I had to keep a job, I had to pay bills, I had things to like, I had to keep myself afloat. So it's easier for those people who get to go to school for basically for free, and they don't have to have a job because their parents take care of them and they pay for everything,
which is nice.
Which is nice, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing.
Yeah, like, if your parents can do that for you, like, all props to you. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. But like, if it's for me, I had a difficult time trying not to be envious of other people, because it's hard because it's like, man, I wish I had the time to be able to do it, and at the same time you're like, well, if you cared about it, you'd make the time for it. But
you put in where you could.
Yeah, I did. I would make the time, and like with this new job, I'm going back to work with Lindsay because I love her so much. That means I have to like work 5 days a week, but I get weekends off, which means I can actually put in time to make this with you on Sundays, and then I have Saturdays, but it's not like I'm going to be working. I work until like 3.
Yeah.
So I'll have like, I'm making time now since I'm not in schools, because I'm not having to juggle school, work, and
trying to be on set for stuff all the time.
But yeah, that's just.
This last question that we have is, what do we want this podcast to be about? So we have been juggling around some ideas, obviously, for the last few weeks about what we want to do. Something that I'm actually kind of really excited for that we'll probably do in a couple of weeks is so we do have socials. We have an Instagram, we have a TikTok right now, and then of course we are going to be streaming on Spotify and Apple Music.
Oh, and we're going to have YouTube. Did you say
yes,
YouTube?
YouTube is coming. We are still deciding.
I want to do YouTube because
I do as well, but like we just have to figure out what we want to do. Anyways,
because like at the moment our set is garbage.
Yes, but we are working with what we've got. But something that I really want to do is, and if you sit and you listen to our podcast, send us in. We'll put stuff on our Instagram stories about it, but send us in stuff about
like what you want us to talk about, like questions.
Any questions that you might want to hear about. But something that I am really excited about is whether it's your horror stories, great stories about being on set, whether it's live production or if it's film. That is, I feel like that's something, because I've just seen a lot of people do that, and some of this stuff is just really funny. Well, of course, keep it anonymous. We're not going to say your name, unless you want us to, but we will change names.
And then later,
just tell us, and we'll tell our horror stories too of us being on set and what we've been through. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun if y'all are interested in us talking about like I want to do like movie reviews.
Yes, that's another one. We so if there's like any movies that you want us to watch, or even any live production or like concert events, and you want us to go through and just kind of break it down and just show you like any concerts, any like sporting events, any just kind of like talking about the different just breaking it down and what you want us to do. Television as well. Something that we are going to talk about, we're not exactly sure when, but we'll probably do it soon, is talking about going into full depth of the Writers Guild strike and the Screen Actors strike. Just everything that's going on with that.
Yeah.
What else you got?
I don't know.
I got one more thing, but I'll let you go.
I think we just want to keep it to like, we should talk about movies and film and live production. I don't know. I think that movie reviews. I really want to talk about Oppenheimer, and you need to see it because it was so good.
I haven't seen it yet. Okay.
I got to see it in IMAX, and oh my god, it was so good. And I love the Barbie movie.
The Barbie movie. Hate on us all you want to, but that Barbie movie was so good.
So good.
I was crying in tears.
It was so good. And like, I don't know, talking about just like movie related things. I don't like just things that you find interesting, or if you want us to like analyze a film,
or if like you want to send us questions, asking us to talk about certain things, like an example, like in live production, what are the exact roles, and like a breakdown of what we do in more depth than what we kind of were given today. We just gave the surface layer of everything today. But yeah, we can definitely do just a breakdown of that and any other things. At some point, we would like to have guests on here, people who we work with, who we've gone to school with, people we know, who want to come on here and talk with us.
Maybe we could get Kurt. I'd be so happy.
Kurt is one of our professors. Like he was so he was our multi-camera 1 professor, and he actually came and talked to my class the other day because we're doing music television right now, and he came and talked to our advanced studio class. But he was our first professor that we had, which is okay. I'm gonna get into this really quick. So Lauren and I,
it's gonna be like forever long podcast.
Lauren and I, we both transferred here in the same semester. We didn't know each other beforehand,
but we did have a class together.
We had this one. So if you don't know what this is, there is. If you listen to Taylor Swift, don't give me that look. She has this song called Invisible String where it talks about how she was in how this boy who she's with now, but there were so many events leading up to it, and that it was this invisible string connecting them together, where they would like meet beforehand. So mine and Laura's invisible string is post-production 1.
That was a terrible class, but I still have the book. It's in there, and I use it. I still use it because it has helped me with like.
Mine's at my parents' house. I still have it.
I mean, it was
but
teacher sucked.
It was such a bad class. That's why I struggled with it so bad.
I didn't struggle because I loved it. I was just like, I get to edit videos.
Well, see, my thing is, I taught myself the software. I taught myself like the basics and a little bit more, and then I went to this class. Had to take this class because it was a requirement for my degree, and she was like teaching it a completely different way. And that sounds weird because it's like,
so stupid.
How do you teach it one way, but you're learning it like you taught yourself one way, but somebody else is teaching it a different way, and it just completely jacked up my brain. So it was not good. I didn't have a fun time in the class. But the next semester we took another class, which is our multi-camera 1 class, which is also another requirement. And we met in that class, and we've been besties ever since.
Yeah, we were literally inseparable.
Like, you saw one of us, you saw the other.
I had, like, no girlfriends, bro. I had no friends.
Like Lauren, okay, so obviously I was friends with my roommates, and I'm still friends with them, but, like, outside of my roommates, she was my first friend when I moved here. So
she was, like, my first, like, girl BFF that I, like, could make friends with. Because, like, I just, like... I mean, I was just like, I need friends, and I'm... Because the people... When I moved here... the people I was friends with weren't, like, amazing people. And,
yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to shade them, but they just, like, as a friend group, looking back on it.
Probably people you should not have been friends with. And don't get me wrong, I'm the same way here. But we're here now, and we're making this podcast, and we're having a great time. Yeah. So.
But, like, we met, yeah. But Kurt's real funny because he tries to act like... He takes credit in me and Joshua dating. He had nothing to do with that at all. Like, had nothing to do with it. But it's like, I take credit. It was all me. I'm like,
let him take credit. Just let him do it.
It was all Mason. It's all on Mason.
Anyways, hopefully one day that we'll be able to have these people who we're talking about, our friends, on this podcast. But yeah, we are running out of time. But definitely follow us on our socials. Instagram is the Real Picture Podcast, REEL, like a demo reel. Same thing for TikTok. And then we'll also add in our YouTube and any other socials we decide to do on this video. Yeah. On our socials, anything else. We're going to be on Spotify and Apple Music. So definitely be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
And we'll hopefully put it out soon. But yeah,
love you.
We love y'all. Please keep on the lookout, and yeah,
we're gonna have such a good time.
Oh yeah, we're
gonna try to keep it like
laid back,
30 to 35 minutes.
So
this was just the first one. I'm so sorry it was so long.
Definitely whenever you're watching, because I know I have a lot of attention issues to really just stay attentive to stuff. But yeah, we'll definitely see y'all next time. Bye. Bye.